Good evening, Jedi Knights and Sith Lords, and welcome to the Star Wars Artifacts show. Tonight, we'll be breaking down the final episode of The Mandalorian Season 3. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a little bit of an anticlimactic episode. It wasn't a bad episode. I mean, we had fun watching it, but we were expecting just a little bit more, and we'll talk about it tonight. As I am joined by my co-host, Smart TB Eric. How are you doing, my friend? Yeah,
Sorry, my microphone was off, but yeah, I think I agree with your statement. I think it was anticlimactic a little bit. We were expecting a lot of of our theories to come true, and we had our own theories about what was going on, and whether there was a spy or whatnot, and everything, and it just didn't seem to come to fruition. But I mean, I'm just gonna remind people in case you haven't watched it. It's a spoiler. Spoiler alert. If you haven't watched the finale, you should not be watching this episode. So before we go any
definitely.
further, you've been
Well,
warned.
yeah,
So
and before we go any further, let's talk about your new background, my friend.
yes, it's still a work in progress back there. But I'm out of the Millennium Falcon cockpit.
Yeah,
And even my Scout Trooper costume back there. I had to put Mando's head on there just so it wasn't a Mandalorian helmet. Sorry, a blank head. But yeah, so my helmet doesn't fit on there. The mannequin has ears, and it doesn't want to go over the ears, so I have to chop them off and continue a little bit of work. Um, but it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. It's a lot better than what I had. I just like the fact that I
yeah,
don't have to prop up a green screen every week anymore and fold it, and it seems weird, but and also I have to play with the colors and whatnot every time to make sure everything's working. But anyway, yeah. So it's
yeah.
moving along. It's
It looks awesome, my friend.
thank you. It's those famous Home Depot uh, garden kind of brackets there, or garden walls and stuff like that. So they were on liquidation, $24. So I pulled the trigger once and for all, and it took a couple weeks to get everything together, but it's almost there. It's getting there. So
Yeah, great work, my friend.
so
So, yeah,
let's
so
take a look.
last week we covered obviously chapter 22 and 23 of The Mandalorian since we couldn't cover episode 22 the week it came out. And yeah, we were all caught up until yesterday's episode. I mean, yeah, there was so much conspiracy theories and tinfoil hat, expectations or something's gonna happen, but no trailer, no surprise cameo,
No.
and no Mythosaur on the battlefield.
Yeah.
So those
So
are the three things. Well, I was expecting at least one of the three, and we didn't get any of those. So yeah,
so
it would
let's
have been
start
fun,
looking
but
at
yeah, it picks up right where we left off. I mean, the Mendos were beginning to leave the Imperial base when the episode ended, and we see Bo in the hallway battle scene, and then well, yeah, we just saw the weekly GoPro shot
yeah, one
the
of
previous
a
fight.
few. But this one I was
Yeah,
like we were talking, like you could just see that like these guys are equipped, man. Like compared to what they end up being in A New Hope, like their stormtroopers, like these things seem like they were way ahead. And Gideon was obviously developing, like he had those the other dark troopers. What were they called? Is it the dark troopers or
yeah, Dark Troopers.
so? He had those. Now he had these that are kind of like the Beskar armor, and they got basically they're kind of like super trooper Mandos, right? So like it's just I took the shot just to show really like how well equipped they were. Um,
Yeah, and surprisingly, Mando's cape is inflammable, right?
yeah, well, yeah, I can't anyway. It is what it is, right? So it was fun to see, like you mentioned earlier, like with this time it was Grogu coming to not that
To the
he's
rescue.
not that he hasn't helped him before, right? Using the Force, but to get the his new little costume, which is can't wait to see all the toys that are going to come out with this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's getting really popular, and it was for once
Well,
here. Like I think at this
for
point,
the whole week, we got like tons of memes, like of IG-12 and Grogu compared to Krang and his body in the Teenage
oh
Mutant
yeah,
Ninja Turtles. So
yeah, it's true. I
it
didn't
was
see
fun
those,
to
but
see all of
yeah,
those memes.
and it was funny that here at this point, like the I took this shot here because this is the part where Mando tells Grogu, like, listen, we got to go into battle together, and we gotta end Gideon once and for all, which was interesting at this point. That now he's using him as a kind of like a partner, as an ally, right? Like he is
Mm-hmm.
really is his kind of like an apprentice. These
Let's do
shots I
this. Yeah.
always love these, like when the ships are always taking off, the sound and everything. And this was your second little kind of GoPro moment from the actual bomber, which should like look really cool.
Yeah.
Or set off for destruction. So this, did you catch this?
Well, to me, it's Moff Gideon playing Pac-Man.
Yeah, but I put the subtitle there. You remember?
I'll take care of him myself.
Did it remind you of anything?
Well, it's a little bit Vaderish, I guess. All right, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
So as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh, I'm like it was almost like
Vader
like
vibes. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So the minute I saw it, I thought of that when it was pretty cool. I don't know if it was on purpose, but it kind of sounded very similar to how I think this was in Return of the Jedi, if I remember well. This
yeah. It's when the rebels are arriving on Endor, I guess,
yeah,
and he says to Admiral Piet, "Leave them to me."
this was funny
And
too to see like how they try to humanize a little bit the droids, like he's scared of heights type thing. Like you just kind of like
yeah, he's got vertigo.
came you just came in on a jet. Yeah, you just came in like through that hole on a jet. And again, now I guess the surprise is out that he's got those same kind of little jet packs, or on his legs, like R2
Yep.
has. But I guess it's a
Yeah,
standard on astromechs, or I'm not sure.
it must be standard built. Yeah, I guess. So yeah, it's the second time we see those kind of
He's looking good though.
little
He's looking a little
rockets.
cleaner than usual, I find. But
Yeah, and the bad motivator burn marks are gone.
yeah,
So I guess Mendo must have cleaned them up a little bit.
and this
And
like little
there's
comedy
hey,
relief was pretty good. I thought. I don't know what you thought of this, but I thought
oh
it was
yeah,
kind of cute to have
it
that.
was yeah, it was very cute, very funny. I like that, and I guess I'm sure you took some more snapshot later when the
Well, there's this the peeking behind the wall, and
yeah,
there it had a little bit of a BB-8 vibe there when he was at an angle like that. But yeah, it
yeah,
was definitely cool. Then this, unfortunately, our theory about wolves being
a traitor.
a traitor or anything. So I the whole time I'm waiting. I'm like, no, no, no. Okay, what's he gonna do? Okay, he got them all out of the ship. What's he gonna do with this? Like, no, he
Yeah, I was like, well, now he's got the ship to himself. He's gonna take advantage of that, and you know
no, yeah, it was.
nope,
I don't
no
know,
surprise there. Yeah,
a little underwhelming, but it is what it is, right? So I took a few
that's a
shots
cool
here.
shot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a couple of nice shots that they're there. So when they're going there to,
yeah, the gauntlets and everything. And did you notice when the gauntlet they were going down on Mandalore? They went through clouds. About 3 seconds later, all the Tie fighters comes out at the same place, and I was like, how come they did ran into each other,
yeah, well,
especially with the zero visibility? And
yeah,
so that was weird. I would have liked to see like just one Tie fighter pulling out of the clouds, being on fire, and hearing the whoa 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 of a
yeah.
Tie fighter going to crash, but because he would have hit maybe a gauntlet or
They
or
had a very
something
cool
going up,
scene
but
right before this. It was an overhead view of the ship and the bombers. I mean, I don't want to take too many shots, but I thought this one was kind of cool. But it was like an overhead. It kind of reminded me of was it one of the movie posters that they had redone where there was like an overhead shot of the one of the destroyers or something like that?
yeah, I think it was for the Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, yeah. But I anyway,
There
so
was like the tip of a Star Destroyer with a tiny X-wing in front of it.
yeah, I think that's what it was. So it reminded me of that shot that was there. There was this part of R5 is actually playing a little bit of the hero in this case and opening up. This I thought I took this shot because I thought it was hilarious because he was beating up the
Yeah,
troopers. He reached out to try to grab his
he's
gun before he
trying to.
fell, but he didn't get it. So
Uh, Too late.
uh, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Like it was almost too easy for him to get the gun and then like continue going, but like you could see he tried, it didn't work out. And then this is like I guess it was a
And
little
I
bit
think
of like
every time he goes through a door, a laser barrier, he gets more and more equipped.
well, it's yeah,
It's like he's
it's
playing the Diablo 2 or something like that,
well, you
Diablo
know what it
3.
reminded me of? It's like running the gauntlet. Remember the old show American Gladiators?
Yeah,
So it kind of reminded me of that he had to like beat one guy, beat the next guy, and this I thought when you saw that, it definitely had vibes of the Riot Trooper from
yeah,
Force Awakens. The baton is
true.
a little bit different, I think, but definitely that vibe. It looks like they're trying to evolve towards the obviously the
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 First
First
Order.
Order, yeah. So then this shot, I mean, obviously you alluded to it, like they'd probably
I mean,
take more,
yeah.
but like the little police. This vibe for me was Wally. You know that little kind of robot that
Yeah,
went and always kept cleaning after him and stuff like that.
true.
And the alarms when there was something that was go wrong, that the little kind of like police that had that kind of vibe for me. Have we ever seen those red lights though before on the
Never,
house?
never
Yeah,
before. It was the very first time we saw those lights,
yeah.
and I thought it was hilarious.
So now it
Especially
looks,
when they kind of mob him and they're pushing him around, and
yeah,
he just said, "Okay, well, if it's how it's gonna be, I'm taking off." And
yeah.
there's one that gets scared and he goes backwards and
And he
falls
blows.
off the
I
platform. Yeah,
saw that.
I think
Yeah.
there's two who fall off, but yeah, it was so funny. I mean,
But it was good.
yeah,
So like anyone who's got these little mouse
MSC droids.
droids,
Yeah,
yeah, they're gonna have to mod them, I guess, if they don't already have the red lights on them. Or
yeah.
either that, or you're gonna have some people that are gonna be super triggered that that's not supposed to be there. One of the two.
They used to sell a remote control version at the Droid Depot on Batu,
Oh yeah.
but they I don't know why, but maybe it wasn't selling well, but they removed it from their
Hmm.
lineup. But it was, I think, the only droid I was looking forward to buy at the Droid Depot, and they removed it. So too
Wow.
bad.
I wonder if that's where the BD1 is. But again, we spoke about it. I feel like you'd almost have to eventually do like a sorry about that. Eventually have to do a bit of a review on it if you can get your hands on one. But from what I saw, I think we had spoken about it, right? It seems underwhelming. It's not really walking, which
Yeah,
makes sense, I guess. But it's just the way it's rolling. It looks like it's skiing. It's like bah,
yeah, it would have been like a 300 droid at it walk,
yeah.
more like in the game, but.
But getting
You
back to
know,
this here, what was
Disney, they launched a yellow version of a BD unit first,
yeah? Well, at least
and
now is
everyone
yeah.
like jumped on it, and a month later they launched a BD1 version with the one with the right colors, and the one everyone would have been hoping for. So
It's okay. I'm happy with this. That's what I'm going
yeah, you got
for.
the Lego version.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna get built soon. So
All
it's got to
right.
go on top. You can't see on my shelf, but I've got a shelf that's behind my seat. Yeah, I guess you can't see it, but I've got a shelf that's got my lightsaber on it. So I want to put BD on there with them, with my Cal lightsaber. Um, so going back to this, so now I guess we understand. We finally understand what was going on, um, why he was trying to get, I guess, Grogu's blood, and uh, and
Mm-hmm.
and what he was cloning exactly. Again, underwhelming. I was hoping to find that link between whether it be
Snoke.
Snoke or even the Emperor Palpatine or whatever, like something, but it seems like it
Well,
just it's self-serving, right? Like with Gideon, his
After
own.
last week's episode, when Captain Hux spoke of Project Necromancer,
Yeah,
I was like, oh well, okay, so Gideon is not involved in the Snoke slash Palpatine clones then,
but
because that's the project, you know. So
yeah. So we'll get back to that. I mean, there's another screenshot a little later when he confronts him after. Um, this felt like it was right out of a horror movie. So
yeah,
predictable.
hmm
Um, but eyes opening, scaring Grogu a little bit, and then obviously break that. I thought they could have probably extended this scene a bit, but it is where it busted it all up. This I don't know if you want to give a bit more context as to what exactly I was trying to understand, like their plants that they salvaged or that kind of grew somewhere else, or what was your understanding of this
yeah.
whole?
Well, that scene was clearly to for us to understand that, you know, the Mandalorians are not only fighting for uh, you know, gaining a planet. You know, now it's worth fighting for it because the planet is still alive.
It could
It's not.
flourish again, kind of
Yeah.
like again. It got a Wally vibe right there, where
So
they come
it
back to
gives them a
Earth and they found the
purpose.
plant. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that was important, and the two Mandos that, you know, kind of lived on Mandalore during the whole time. You know, they found out that some seeds were growing back, and they planted those seeds and they began farming the planet again. So they have a whole set of knowledge that they have acquired, you know, during those years, and they will be able to transmit that to Bo, so they can, you know, be able to bring that planet back to life again. So I think it was very crucial for that, and I don't think we're seeing it very well on that picture. But the Mando in the middle is shoulder pauldron. Is it's the head of a B2 battle droid. Uh, it's a little bit hard to see on that picture, but
yeah,
yeah, and that actor used to play in Breaking Bad as well. I don't know if you've watched the show.
oh, it was his yeah, the skinny
Skinny
junkhead.
Mike, Skinny Joe. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, good call. Wow.
the one
Holy
with the
crap.
beanie. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, this will just continue taking a couple of nice shots. I thought they were coming. This is when the armor tells Bo, your backup is on the way, your support. Took a couple little
That was a
shots
cool
here.
scene.
Yeah,
It had really a lot of Clone Wars vibe, I think.
yeah,
And yeah, she's, you know, she's pulling out the dark saber and she says like, "Follow me,
yeah.
follow the beam of hope that I'm holding in my hands, and let's take our planet back." You know,
And this is the
it's
part that I
so
was telling you about where he explains exactly what the clones were, basically a better version of himself, um, and the
they would have been
key
force sensitive.
exactly. But I just thought, like, you know what? We find out about them that's what he's doing. Boom, gone. Like, could they not have kind of like alluded to that in the previous episode to try to build like, oh my god, what are these things gonna get set loose or whatever? But like, it just
Hmm
2 seconds later, he's all upset that it's all happened. Like, look, I don't know. I thought it was a little bit rushed, but it is what it is,
And
and
well, there's already conspiracy theories that, you know, because Gideon did have a mustache like he used to have in the
yeah,
previous
well, come on,
seasons,
yeah. But none of the
that
clones did
he
either, right?
was
Yeah,
a clone
yeah.
as well.
Well,
But
so we can talk about that in the wrap up, but I have a feeling that anyway, we'll get to that. It is what it is anyway. I think people were just reading a bit too much. What was someone said the worst thing they left out was his mustache, one thing that didn't come back. So this is hard to describe what exactly everything that's going on, but like the battle, the Praetorian guards came out
that was a
for
cool fighting sequence. I
yeah,
mean, it was great. And I really liked the music, the theme of those
yeah,
Praetorian guards. Every time, you know, we could feel the drama and the intensity that was about to happen. And, you know, they kind of kicked Din's butt pretty well. And
yeah,
just before they were about to finish him off, I mean,
yeah. Grogu
Grogu
came.
once again came out and
No.
basically
No.
saved his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he created like a great diversion, and the Praetorian guards they went straight at him, and
It was pretty
Gideon
funny.
obviously made sure he couldn't Din couldn't go and help Grogu out.
Yeah. Then we had
He separated them both.
followed by the ultimate battle, I guess, that people were expecting, or depending who you were, I guess. But like, so we ended up having Gideon versus Bo-Katan, which is like, I guess,
Go back to
redemption and all.
the previous shot for just for a second. I mean, that has Fallen Order vibes all
Yeah.
along. I mean,
Yeah.
he looks like a purge trooper mixed with an inquisitor. So yeah,
And
that
Amando.
was a cool scene. And Amanda, yeah,
Yeah. So it's cool because you could see there's like something holding, like it's like a three-part kind of baton, and like you got anyway. Yeah, very interesting. It looked
and
really
I
cool.
think I said it like last week, but Hasbro is already on the element. I'm sure. I mean, we're gonna get a Black Series Moff Gideon Mandalorian element. I'm I'm would almost put my hand to the fire just
Yeah.
to be sure how certain I am, because the base of the helmet is the same as the Boba Fett mold.
Okay.
They only have to change like the top with the little horns and remove the rangefinder on the side, and voila, we have a brand new helmet. But everything from the visor down, they don't have a lot of modifications to make. So
Well, I mean, they're not.
expect it.
They could cut corners too, even if there would be, I guess. But I thought this scene that would look really cool, like the way that her helmet lit up from the dark saber. I mean, I took
Yeah.
another shot there, but it was the face of the face to face, and while she was there distracting, well, I guess we had Din that went and was able to finish off the
Another
guards
thing
who
that bothered me when Bo-Katan arrives, and she goes headfirst into Gideon, and she tells Din, go help your kid."
yeah,
Do you remember that scene? Yeah.
yeah,
How does she know that Grogu needs help? She wasn't there 5 seconds ago.
yeah. uh I don't
Um,
know.
maybe I'm overthinking it, but I think
Well,
my
she
job
knows
is
he's
to
not with
overthink
him.
stuff.
She's like, right? She knows that he's not there. Who knows? Who knows what she was looking at up there? Or maybe she was on the comm or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's
Perhaps.
a good question. But then you had this like kind of like combo fighting with Grogu's force helping out
That was
Din the
fun.
whole time.
Every time that the Praetorian guards
He
was
just got
about
to
to
finish him. Yeah,
finish, yeah, Mendo, Grogu would push him, and yeah, they really completed each other during that battle scene, and it gave Grogu like a good purpose and a good importance. I thought
I
in
I
that scene.
prefer that than them having given him a weapon and pull a Yoda episode two,
Lightsaber
right?
thing,
Like, yeah.
yeah,
So I'm glad that that's the route that they took. Then we had Axe Wolves uh, basically going full kamikaze with his the ship down.
yeah.
Uh,
The light cruiser is coming down. And another question I have for you:
mm,
those fighters, the bombers and the interceptors, where the heck did they go?
yeah, well, yeah. Well, I mean, they, we know that there's other Imperial people, right? Like, so they probably went to them or something, right? So like that was.
Yeah, but if my memory is right, they don't have any hyperspace uh, engine or capability. So
Hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
yeah,
remember they can't go when they see him too far out there. They said, well, he's too far out to be, um,
yeah, that's it.
was in episode 4.
Four.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
they finally discovered the Death Star.
Yeah.
So
So this just thought it was a nice shot. Again, it's hard to describe all this battle, but what we see here is the end of the dark saber, basically.
yep,
Crushed it in her hand and dumped it on the ground there. So it was a little bit, I guess, a little bit shocking to see, and that's one of the spoilers that I saw. I mean, in reading Facebook, a lot of people were made comments, and then people were upset about it. But I mean, I'm one of those people. Like, if you don't want to see spoilers, definitely don't read comments, and you probably shouldn't be on Facebook until you've watched it.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Hubert Rockstrong has a nice point here on the chat. He says maybe it was the first time the guards ever fought a Force user.
Yeah,
That's why
probably.
they lost. Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Hubert,
And
because
they probably wouldn't have expected
Force
it
users,
from that little thing too, right? So it's
yeah, Force users must be pretty sparse, for during those years because there aren't too many Force users around during that time. So, we know of Luke, we know of Ahsoka, and there's a few other Jedi, but I mean, I guess like there's max a dozen.
yeah.
So
I took
yeah,
this shot here. I thought this was a little bit of overkill. First of all, it took forever, and we kind of alluded to it yesterday, talking with Nick when we are having another chat there. But that ship going down that hole took forever. Like
Mhm.
like it was a little bit much, but obviously the
But
explosion.
it was like scraping on the rocks on the side.
Yeah, right. So this I thought was funny. She goes to protect with her little shield. What do you think
Yeah,
is gonna do here? Like it's a good thing that Grogu came through.
it's like
So
a dish plate, 12-inch dish plate.
yeah, exactly. With your vinyl 33 turn disc there. So we see the end of Gideon, or allegedly, I guess we
Or
not.
is it?
Yeah, exactly. And then Grogu comes through with his force.
Force bubble. That
Yeah,
reminded me a lot of the of Kanan Jarrus'
yeah,
death
yeah,
in the Rebel series when he was protecting Era, Ezra, and the others. So it gave me some cool Rebel vibes. So yeah, really enjoyed how he he pulled it off. Grogu, he came, he was up to the challenge.
yeah. For that, I guess, size of an explosion. So that was basically the end of that, and then we had, I guess, this little fellow here that ended up finally getting his baptism that he was
Yeah,
supposed to get. I thought it was a little weird. They could have mentioned his dad, unless I missed it, but could have
yeah,
mentioned something,
part
right?
two.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it was just, I don't know. I thought it was a little weird that nothing. Oh, hey, are you going to baptism? Oh, your daddy's dead. And I thought it was a little also weird that you baptize someone on their helmet. I think it could have been cool to put it on his actual head, and then he puts on his helmet, and that's it, right? Rather than just pour
yeah,
water on
because
the kid's helmet.
it would have been complicated to go to the living waters now. He's only
Yeah,
have to step one march, one step ahead of him, and
yeah.
he's redeemed. So he could have pulled the helmet off, but I guess this is the way.
So here we're saying, if I feel it would have been more impactful if it was the first time we saw Grogu holding back flames. So when was the first time?
First time was in the final episode of season one when the incinerator trooper came in the bar
Ah, yes, yes,
and
yes.
he
Yeah,
he held it back. So
yeah, yeah. Unless it could have tried to see him use it in a different way, but I don't know. I got my own opinion. I mean, a lot of people. I think it seemed to be, well. You know what? We'll get to the summary of the episode afterwards.
okay,
But yeah. So then we have Mando, who well, she says he can't speak the words or whatnot, or
yeah, to get in the creed, yeah, so
yeah,
to join.
and
So
unless his father speaks for him, and then everyone knows what's coming here. So now his name is Din Grogu, baptized Din Grogu.
mm-hmm.
So now they're gonna have to go and rebrand all the boxes, I guess. But like,
Oh boy.
I don't know. And then finish it with a nice little view. So what is this? What's your opinion here? Do you think, or maybe Hubert can tell us? I mean, what was your opinion on this? Is this confirming that it's actually there? I mean, I would
Yeah,
think
yeah,
so,
it
right?
is.
Like, so
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it is. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm pretty certain he is, but I think Gogo connected with it
hmm,
because
good
he
point. Yeah,
he he bent forward,
yeah,
he
and
looked
you
in the
look down.
water, and then the camera took us underwater, and I think there was like some sort of a connection between the two. So
Yeah.
that's
So
the impression I got. Yeah,
and then we have, I guess,
our first Olympic Games in Mandalore. No,
so yeah, the lighting of the flame, but it was cool. I guess still acknowledging her as the leader. I guess even though she doesn't have the a dark saber. I mean, yeah, I never doubted it was there, but here we see that Grogu felt him, and yeah, same thing you were just saying, and I
yeah,
think as well. I don't think it was
I
a
agree
vision.
with you, but yeah,
Um, But so yeah, I guess still acknowledging that she's a leader even without the dark saber, and I guess in a way also saying you never needed this thing in the first place, right? Like it's and
Hmm.
because like she, when we saw in the early episodes, she was like moping around. Oh, I don't have the dark saber. You'd say as I guess a follow up to season two, but like you never needed it. You were always a leader. You just had to like take
That's
charge
it.
there. So
It was like you know, like a safety net that she
yeah.
had, But um, Gideon says something pretty interesting during their fight. When he crushes the dark saber, he says, "You Mandalorians are lost without your trinkets," or something like that. And
So why do you want it? He said he
and
wanted
then
it back.
yeah, well, then something clicks in Bo-Katan's head because she sees Mendo coming back to join the fight, and she says, "But we are stronger together."
Yeah.
And I think that she finally gets it. Let's stop bickering between each other. Let's stop, fighting between clans. Let's just work as a whole, as one big Mandalorian clan or family, call it as you want, and we will thrive.
Yeah.
Uh, so and with Bo lighting up the forge
The Olympic
is
flame.
the beginning of a new era, the beginning of a new golden age, perhaps for the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Uh, the only thing that do not work in my head about that is the where were they during the First Order era?
So yeah, I mean,
So
that I would
perhaps they
assume that's
decided
going
to
to
stay
be a
neutral, but
yeah. Well, you know what? Like so again, it's going to go with my what I think is happening here. But let's wrap this up. So going back to the I guess cantina bar or whatever for I guess the resistance. I took these because I know how much you like the helmets. I was curious to know
mhm.
what the hell hit that stormtrooper with those
Yeah,
claws.
big claws, right?
Yeah,
It's either a Wampa or
and I was also trying to figure out which
Freddy Krueger.
version of that helmet we had there for the scout, and I think it's another EFX, but I could be wrong. I've actually got it right here, and it looks like that's what it is. But anyway, I don't want to speculate.
Because of the visor.
Yeah, the way it's spaced out there on the top.
Okay.
But I'm not an expert. Um, it just really looks like it in terms of the shape and everything. And I guess we'd have to do a side by side comparison. But anyway, we'll leave it at
Mhm.
that. And then so our friend here. And what you want to give some context as to what kind of deal you think that they were trying to put? Because to me, I was a little lost. Like it's like basically we're going to be doing stuff on the side, and you're going to turn and look the other way when we do it. Basically,
Yeah, but he's Carson Teva is gonna kind of freelance, with Mando. I mean, if there's something that needs to be taken care of in the outer rim, well, because Carson seems to have a lot of difficulties getting the resources necessary
yeah.
to do the job, just like he had to face when the pirates invaded Navarro. Well, there's good old Mando, not far and ready to help
And
uh,
stays in the good grace of the New
of the New
Republic.
Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
it's funny. He was saying when Grogu can finally speak, the first thing he's going to say is, "Dad, there's a mythosaur." And Mando's going to go wild. So going back to Navarro over here, he gets the deed to the land. I guess he had alluded to in the previous episodes,
that's it.
and we get IG-11 the return, and in his new role as the
Marshall.
in the yeah, and so I thought that was cool. I'm I think we were kind of robbed of some cool moments with him. I would have wanted. I like the compromise with the Grogu thing,
Hmm.
and I understand now. But like I don't know, I like that character. I would have liked to have seen him a lot more.
Yeah,
Did
but
did
I
he
mean,
direct an episode? What's his name? The director, the guy who does the voices.
yeah, yeah, Taika Waititi.
Yeah. Did he direct an episode in this season?
I don't think so. He just did the voices for IG. I
Okay.
think.
And then that's how where it wraps up. We get to see where he's living out by himself in his little secluded area, and a little weird that, like, in my opinion, he's still wearing all his armor when he's going out to chill in the front. But we get to see Grogu
Yeah.
playing with the frogs. I guess he's got plenty to eat in his front pond over there. A few
Well,
frogs.
he would have taken his helmet off, but there was camera filming him, so he couldn't.
Yeah, but even that, just like you're sitting on the front porch in full armor, it's like, I don't know, you're not a fireman or anything. And this little kind of Looney Tunes, bidia bidia, it's all folks kind of
Yeah.
ending thing. So it to me, it
Hey
seemed a little bit like
Ryan,
closure.
just my good friend Ryan from California
Oh,
is joining us on the show. Thanks for joining us, Ryan.
so yeah, like this seemed to me like a little bit of a wrap up, and I guess we can move on to, I guess, what
You know,
your
of
opinion
all the scenes
was.
in the scary moments we had to go through during the season, I think that that very last picture you just showed us with the circle around the two is the scariest because I'm afraid that's a the end for Mando.
So
And
it definitely feels that way, and I think, like, you know, and speaking to a lot of people before, like when the episode came out, even before I got to see it, some people say, "Well, I heard it's average, it's so and so." A lot of people disappointed, and like we said earlier, a little bit of anticlimactic. Like there wasn't, no spy, no nothing.
mhm,
But in hindsight, you realize why there wasn't, because they tried to wrap it up. I think that they tried to wrap it up and give themselves an out if we don't make more seasons, because they didn't announce a new season at Celebration that was coming
yeah,
out, right? So it's like we decide not to make any more. We're covered. We close the story. I was disappointed that there was no Thrawn, um,
that's what I was
at
expecting.
all. Like a kind of talk about passing of the torch at the end of this episode. I thought the torch
Yeah.
should be passed to Ahsoka, but it's like they close the story. It's like, okay, so it's like if someone watches those series, they're done. Even if they don't go on to watch Ahsoka, there was a little bit of a mention of Thrawn, but that's it. So
Hmm.
there's no like, okay, well, no, the story continues. And I think that they closed the loop on it in a way where, and I think I made a joke about it yesterday, where I think Filoni's movie is going to be a compilation of Book of Boba Fett. If who knows if there'll be another season at this point, Ahsoka, Mando, they're going to put all that together and make a like kind of like super movie out of it or something like that. We'll see them again, right? So
Yeah, and I think that the very next time we're going to see Mando will be in Filoni's movie.
yeah,
I'm afraid, or
that's
because no, not even or. I think it's going to be it, and I think we're going to see Bo-Katan a lot sooner than that because Ahsoka and her, they go back to the final season of the Clone Wars. I
well,
mean, they were
we might see
together in.
Mando and Ahsoka too, right? Like it's not
Yeah,
impossible.
but he will pop out for one episode and he'll
Yeah,
go back. That will be part of one of Grogu's trading,
adventures or
yeah,
yeah,
adventures. Yeah,
yeah.
but same
Because
thing
that's
for
what she
Bo.
said, right? The armorer said, "Now you got to go off. Like, don't stay here. Go off and do take part in adventures, like in as
Yeah.
part of your training, right?" So,
Hmm.
again, I think it leaves the door open. I think that they leave the door open also with Gideon by introducing the clones and the clones of him, where one of them could have survived or something like that, right? Like,
Hmm.
so they left a couple little doors open. I find with that, but I guess in the end, we also spoke about, like, when we had our little theories about the best car that was found in Gideon's escape ship. We know what it is now. It's those, probably those stormtroopers that came in that had best car or whatever. So, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. My friend Ryan says I think Filoni's movie is coming out in 2026, and there is a fourth season of Mandalorian already in production. Well, technically, we heard John Favreau say that he had already wrote a fourth and a fifth season for the Mandalorian, but we have also heard rumors of conflicts between him and Kathleen Kennedy. So that's the scary part for me, and I'm wondering if the way they close things out. uh, for that season. As you said, Eric, perhaps it's just like a safety door that if there's nothing else, that's fine, and if there is, well, good. I mean, people will tune in when it comes out for sure.
Well, yeah,
But
and I think that honestly, like maybe it's a creative thing. Who knows how much input she had in this series, and maybe that's where some of the conflict. Again, I thought it was a little bit underwhelming overall as a season, especially the way we didn't really get to see like Thrawn and other little things like that. There was a little bit of a lack of like intrigue in terms of like it would have been cool if there was a spy or something like that. There a little bit
mhm,
of a a twist in the plot or something like that, but none of that. And I think that they overall they'd be crazy, like absolutely crazy, not to
to
continue
stop
this
there,
series. Yeah, like I mean,
yeah,
this thing is like it's printing money for them, right, in terms of merchandise and stuff like that. So I find it really hard to believe that we're not going to see him, just like Ryan said. There's no way we're not going to see him for 3 years, right? Like, if there is, it's good because you're going to create such an appetite for it that when you do see him, you're going
yeah,
to be nuts. But I think that with Ahsoka's series, we'll see him pop up one episode where, hey, I'm going on an adventure, I'm helping you here. Maybe even in the finale, who knows what, right? But
hmm
and if they do decide to make another Book of Boba Fett, which is I'm not sure about based on its reception. Maybe he'll show up, and he will. I would assume for sure. But
Well, speaking of the Book of Boba Fett, I heard that the main reason for the tension or the alleged tension between Favreau and Kennedy was about the return of Grogu to Din happening in the Book of Boba Fett series. Favreau told her that it wouldn't make any sense, that people wouldn't understand if Grogu was with Mando at the beginning of season 3. And I think he was right because a lot of people were saying, well, he left with Luke and now he's back
well, yeah,
with Din.
they would have had to basically would have had to expand the season or reduce some of the plot I guess explain that in another episode. But you know what? Like,
Well, remove the Jack Black and Lizzo episode and put
yeah, but I
at the
think the way
very
that they did
beginning.
it in this way is like 'cause you had a year where you had the Book of Boba Fett, so it almost feels like it's progressing. Whereas like, oh, here's the episode. Oh, he's back, right? I think it was done
Yeah,
properly, and but either way, like you know what? Like I don't even want to
it,
speculate with this whole kind of
it,
Favreau Kennedy thing. I feel like I'm talking about Montreal Canadiens trade rumors and stuff like that, but. I just don't want to add any fuel to that kind of stuff, but you wanted to also talk about, I guess, an overview of the season in general, right? Like,
yeah,
so let me put some of these slides up here. So yeah, excuse. So I'm gonna just play the little, I guess, the slide here. I can do that. There you go. So we'll go through some of the screens. But overall, and anyone on the chat, feel free to like overall, what was your impression of the season? Let's talk about maybe favorite scenes, favorite episodes. In your opinion.
yeah. Well, and give us a rating out of 10. What's your final grade to the season? Uh, for me, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10, I think. Uh, Maybe 8, but I'm always accused of being too generous in my grades. So being the always optimistic guy that I am, so uh, yeah, I would have said 8, but no, I'm gonna take it down like a little notch and give it a 7.5. I really like the first two episodes. Perhaps it's because we saw them at the same moment. Now that we're part of the media, we had the screener, and we got to see the first two episodes one night before episode one came
Well,
out.
few
And
hours before.
yeah, well, yeah, like
um,
6 hours before episode
yeah.
one came out. But I guess that it, it gave me the impression that they went well together. It was like just one big episode,
Well, so that you
and
could say the same thing for the last two, right? I mean, that could
yeah,
have been an
exactly.
extended episode. I wish that they could have created episode one as like let's say an hour and a half,
Mm-hmm.
have a solid 6 episodes, and then after that, have an hour and a half
Those
finale.
two, the last two ones, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we could
Okay.
have fit in. You could have saved 2 episodes. Well, save you. Yeah, you could have saved 2 episodes and added a little bit more. Some of the stuff we spoke about with Gideon, add a bit more context. Show us the clones before, 5 minutes before busting them all up. Now it's like, oh my God, he's doing clones. Yeah, now they're gone. It's like,
Yeah.
show them like at least like the Dark Troopers, like they kind of got released. We got to see them a little bit in action, something like that. They pose
Hmm.
an actual danger. But like, if you would have seen one of those clones pop out and use the Force, you would have been like, "Oh crap!" Right?
We're in trouble, right?
And
Yeah.
have Grogu take it out. Right? So one of them survives, like breaks through the glass or something like that, and Grogu has to fight off against it. That would have been
Hmm.
no lightsaber. It's just like a kind of like a using the Force kind of thing.
Force
That
choke.
yeah, well, yeah, anything. It just would have. I think it would have been cool. But I agree. I mean, I think for me, like the first 2 episodes are probably the more impactful of the bunch.
And
But
there's always a way out. I mean, they if they decide to go with a fourth season, you know, we could just see that Gideon at another base with more clones there, and that was just a part of them being on Mandalore, or he had at least one somewhere, and
I, I feel
like
like they
a
closed the loop on Gideon.
contingency plan.
Yeah, but I feel like they closed the loop and got rid of him now. It's like, okay, well, now he's no
Yeah,
longer in the picture. We move on to Thrawn. He's the threat until you
yeah.
eventually get rid of him. And like this is going to continue to link, towards the
Well,
Force
I don't expect
Awakens.
Tron to die until the Filoni movie.
No.
That's gonna be the big conclusion
So
for
is this
the
your
Mandalorians.
Thanos that's being introduced now? I guess.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
yeah. And if the movie's coming out in 2026, that means you have a series coming out in 24 and 25. I would assume.
Yeah,
Um,
at least two seasons with Ahsoka. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm guessing maybe no Mando in 24. Probably if there's going to be a Mando, it'll be in 25.
Hmm.
Maybe another series as well, but they've already got series, right?
Because
The
because we gotta
Acolytes.
remember that the skeleton crew will be part of the Mandoverse as
Oh, is
well.
it? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that
Well, we've
story
got
still has
Andor.
yet to be
Andor's
told.
coming too, right? So
Yeah,
Andor's
well, that's not
24.
in the Mandoverse.
No, 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 but I'm just saying like a number of series that they're
Okay.
going to
Yeah,
release
project. Yeah,
per years,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
so
yeah. Season two is coming out in
got
2024.
Bad Batch. So like
Bad
there's a
Batch
lot of
season
stuff coming
three,
out, right? So
the
I'm
conclusion.
I'm guessing 25 we're going to get another Mandoverse type series of some sort, and
Yeah.
then 26 will be your movie. But I know that there's the behind the scene logistics of scheduling and Pedro Pascal. He's gonna have, not that you even need him, right? Like you can
Well,
record
we
the whole
never got to
season.
see his face.
Yeah,
In this season, it's the first
yeah,
season we don't get to see his face once.
yeah.
So
So you don't even really need him you could be off doing The Last of Us and just have Nico send him what was it what's the name of that app there, the auxiliary or whatever it's called.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you mean.
The same thing that I had to do
Audacity,
there.
Audacity.
Audacity.
Yeah.
Yeah, here. Can you record a couple of these lines for me 3 different ways? And but yeah, so I thought like the season. I think I'd agree as well. I think it was to me it was a 7.5, above average. A good. It's a
Okay.
pass. It's but I don't know if I wasn't my favorite. I think the first season will always probably remain my favorite.
Hmm.
The final episode was not nearly as impactful as the finale of season two with like there was nothing that came out like
Yeah, because season finale for season one, we get to see the dark saber, and we're like, oh my gosh.
yeah,
And then season two, the finale, even bigger. I mean, Luke
yeah,
Skywalker comes to
with
the
an incredible
rescue.
scene too, right? Like
Yeah,
so
what the heck? I cried during that scene. I'm not ashamed to say it.
yeah.
I was like, the, as soon as I saw the X-wing flyby, and I think it
Oh, it was intense, man.
was it Gina Carano who said, "Wow, an X-wing, we're saved." But then I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah,
they did it!"
that to
No,
me is a
I was
highlight of the whole Mando series. The whole series is when that landed in there and he walked
and
out, and you kind of knew, oh my god,
And the
like that.
music playing with the
Yeah,
the, the, the choir, with the
and
it was like,
he had his kind of like his moment just the same way that Vader had his moment as well, right? Like in
yeah, and it was like a black cloak,
yeah,
Jedi. At first, we see him through the security camera, so we don't see the color of the blade. But there was
you see
one
the
scene
glove.
where we just see the glove and the
Yeah,
lightsaber in his hand, and I got the saber right
but
here next to me, so I was like, "It's Luke."
I was just happy he got his Rogue One moment, I guess is what I want to
Yeah,
call it, right? Like so
yeah,
he got to
like
show
Vader in the
him.
hallway, and
Yeah, you got to see him wipe out a bunch of people to see
yeah,
how far he had evolved.
he kicked butt. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were saying the same thing. I mean, it was just for me that was like a mix of nostalgia. It was so much emotion. Then you ended with him and like leaving like you're just like you're still caught up. Like that to me,
Mm-hmm.
like that was the highlight of the whole series. I mean, if it ends there, but like of the whole series, that was probably my favorite scene
Yeah.
in this season though. What was your favorite scene? You'd say?
Hmm. I like the final fight between Mando, Grogu, and the Praetorian Guards.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty intense, and the only thing that was missing in that scene was a Praetorian Guard like kind of stabbing Grogu in his chest, only to remind us that, oh, that's why he got his you know out of
yeah. You know
proportion
what? Again, that's another thing that
armor.
was like anticlimactic. Like, why'd you build him that giant frisbee on his chest and we didn't even get to see him use it or shot?
Yeah,
Just shoot him as a blaster, a stray shot, or
yeah,
like from Gideon with a shot.
and
But
just
yeah,
for
another
like a
thing.
half of a second, we're left to wonder, is he okay? And then,
Yeah,
oh no, it's true. Like the mithril chainmail in Lord of the Rings
you know what?
when
You know what I'm
Frodo
gonna say.
gets stabbed by a
It
spike.
it felt like the last episode was rewritten. It's probably not the case, but it felt like it was building towards something, and all of a
Hmm.
sudden, like you know what, uh, this movie's coming out. We're gonna do this. You know, let's just wrap this up nicely. And it just
Yeah.
like it didn't end anywhere near like I said as dramatic as I thought it was gonna be. But I mean, I'm nitpicking. I mean, overall, we've been spoiled with this series and everything. But I don't know. There was something about this last episode, and I mean, if you look, critics would agree. I would assume everything I've read, people are just like,
Hmm.
it was okay. This but we've had this expectation like we've gone over with Luke and the dark saber. Like we're expecting some crazy ending, some kind of
Yeah.
cliffhanger of some sort, not this Warner Brothers Looney Tunes circle ending. Here you go, everything's fine and dandy.
Mm.
You're just like, well, where are we going now, right? So, um, but again, I liked it. It was all right, but
My best comedic moment was either uh, the um, the scene with the droid, the yes yes no no in
yes,
the
no,
streets.
yeah,
Yeah, that was fun.
yeah. I like that too.
Uh, and there was another one, but it doesn't. It's not coming back to me. But
And that's what I'm gonna say. You know what? Like on that thought, I don't think that there was anything crazy memorable
yeah.
about this like for me like even in season one, IG-11 was memorable for me. As soon as we saw him
Hmm.
in the trailer, the way he was moving, that battle to find Grogu in episode one, I mean, that was just so cool to me.
Yeah,
Um,
because from the very first time we saw IG-88 in Empire Strikes Back, I was like, how can this toothpick of a droid be efficient,
That thing was
acting as a bounty
savage
hunter?
though in Shadows of the Empire. I don't know if you played it on the
Yeah,
N64.
yeah,
That
yeah,
thing where
but
he was a hard boss, man. Like he was savage in that. So like I for
yeah,
me that's the thing I kind of remember him for, and I remember thinking even in the game I'm like, man, that thing was just standing there in the movie, but he's all over me, and it was fun to see him and to see like the
in
the
live action.
yeah, exactly, the rotation and
Yeah.
how he can move and why he was so dangerous, right? Like
Hmm.
so I mean I'd like to see someone try to go mess with Navarro at this point because
I guess we can say the same about Bosk because we got to see since the Mandovers began a lot of Trandoshans
yeah.
and they were involved in good fights. I mean, they proved it, that they lived up to reputation of being formidable warriors, capable of removing capable of skinning a Wookiee,
Yeah.
which must
Well,
not be an easy task. So,
so
uh,
for me, I would say like in terms of, I don't think I really have a favorite scene or anything. I thought just visually and especially doing the screenshots, like the kind of like superhero landing of like the Mandalorians. A lot of the, I may always make fun of it. The GoPro shots look cool. Whenever the ships take off, to go after anything, and that goes even
mhm.
just like Andor. I just have such a thing like that scene in Andor when the stormtrooper goes in, or the Tie Fighter pilot goes in the ship, and you see that in front of the light and takes off. Whenever I see those, the sound of it, the intimidation of the ships and all that, I think it just looks so cool. So for me, it's a compilation of a lot of the, I guess, artistic aspects of it. But in terms of like anything, there was nothing really that really stood out for me. So, but I mean, that's just me, right? So
Seeing the Anzolins were cute. I mean, we all loved Babu Frick, so
yeah,
that scene with Grogu was another one, pretty funny scene. I think
yeah,
that's the other one
the baby,
I had forgotten. Yeah,
yeah, the baby
yeah,
scene, the bad baby with
bad
the
baby. Yeah,
yeah.
bad baby.
So if we move on, if you're fine with that, we can move on to some of the other little Easter eggs, I guess, that we have and some of the extra other stuff that we have to talk.
Yeah,
And that's
we
one that
do.
I remember we're talking about, um, what's gonna happen with these little fellas here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that we found out what happened to them. I can't feel like I can't grab that picture there. Nope. But yeah, so we thought that these little birds,
Would
um,
become mounts.
yeah, but obviously that wasn't the case. They became a meal
Yeah.
from what I mean. It's not confirmed, but like, what else could they have been eating right there?
I heard like the big birds from the lava flats that live on Navarro, and honestly, I prefer that theory to those uh, little younglings.
Yeah.
uh, I kind of hope that we will get to see them as mounts
Well, it's another
in
loose
future
end,
projects.
and when they moved, there was no talk of them, right? When they moved back
No,
to Navarro, well, back to when they moved to Navarro, and like there was just no talk at all of what was going on.
no
Like
mention about that.
another loose end that I find is just like, okay, well, what's going on with them? I thought that, obviously the timeline didn't work, but um, like, would they have grown to a point where you evolved this season where they could have been effective and they could have used them or something? But
Hmm.
I guess not. So
So can you read
yeah,
James' rating? Yeah.
so James has it as an 8. Can you read it now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
have it. I thought it was a good season, but not anything outstanding. Yeah, I agree with that. Enjoyed episode where Mando returns to Mandalore, episode where Mandalorian clans unite,
yeah.
and the final episode. Yeah. Other than that, a few episodes felt like fillers, and really thought the episode with Mando eating bird creature was trash. Yeah, well, to me, it was the Jack Black episode that I didn't like at all. But
Yeah, yeah.
uh, aside from that, well, we forgot to talk about something in our recap because we finally saw who saved Grogu, and that was a major thing
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
this
You know
season.
what? Yeah, you know what?
The big return of
So I
Clover
didn't
back.
really like. I think that episode overall. I'm trying to remember what it was that.
That's the pterodactyl episode.
Oh yeah, exactly. So, but I definitely I would say this probably I'd say as a scene as an overall, like that's my highlight, is
Yeah,
to see that him come back for that scene and to just have such a, I guess, a
warm
badass,
welcome.
I guess
Yeah,
his own kind of like Rogue One badass Jedi kind of like
yeah.
scene, right? So yeah, I guess that was good. I wish there could have been more of that. To see, I thought it was an introduction to, like, us seeing more about his rescue, but that's where it ended, right? So we didn't get
Mm-hmm.
more of how he ended up where he was. And I think we were expecting to see a little bit more when we had our discussion, but
Yeah.
that obviously didn't come to fruition. But yeah,
Well, it's all in the who knows. Maybe if we get to season four, we're gonna see a little bit more about that because like it seemed that every seasons we have a little more info on how Grogu was rescued. So I would love to see what happened with Kelleran Beck and Grogu after that emergency departure from Coruscant. So
but
yeah,
based on this whole
this
theme here, we're
yeah.
getting spoiled. Just announced this week. We're gonna have two guests from The Mandalorian, which is already bigger than I think anything that we had. With all due respect to I forget the name of who does the voice of Super Mario, but that was basically one of the
Well,
highlights.
yeah, last year was terrible, but the year before the pandemic, 2019, we had Ray Park, which I
Yeah,
got to meet.
yeah, same.
That was cool.
Well, I mean,
And
anytime you get someone who's Star Wars related, but I mean, to have these two guys show up, and they're the typical guys. I think we've seen it in a lot. I find Giancarlo Esposito goes to a lot of these events, despite
yeah,
what he seems to have a very heavy schedule. So I'm
he's
very
very close
happy.
to his fans, and he's
Yeah,
very generous.
and it's funny it doesn't
I
come off like that. Must be maybe it's the Gus uh,
yeah,
impression that I have, but I didn't really I don't know. That's not the impression I have of him as a person, but I guess I'm just judging him on his characters because he's always playing the kind of like villain, bad guy, jerk, right? So it's like, but
yeah.
I'm looking forward. I'm gonna try because I'm going to the Niagara Falls Comic Con. He's gonna be there, so I'm thinking maybe photo op in Niagara and then get him to sign the photo in Montreal.
No, that would be cool.
Yeah, so I think it'd be a cool moment because I'm going to be going with my boy, and he's probably going to dress up as the Mando, so I could make a nice picture to have
Mm,
him with that.
yeah.
Yeah, so
I,
yeah,
I I met him last summer. I went to the Toronto Fan Expo, and he signed my dark saber blade, which was awesome. Uh, and he was very generous with me. Uh, I mean, he took the time to speak with me, and there was like a huge lineup, and he was like an hour late arriving because he had a photo out before, and it took more time than expected, so he arrived an hour later, and I was the first in line. We spoke, and I knew that you know they're not supposed to take selfies because normally you have to pay for the actual photo op.
yeah,
But I said, well, if I don't try, I will never forgive myself. And I asked him, would you mind if we took a little selfie? And he took like a split second to think, and he said, yeah, let's do this. And he came next to me and he took a selfie. He was very nice, and I think that seeing him at the Montreal Comic Con this year, I might just take the photo up to get a cool picture with him,
what are you
and
gonna
I'm
say?
definitely gonna.
I know I stiffed you out of money last time, but I'll actually give it to you this year's.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you were kind enough to take the selfie with me last year, for
I'll pay
free.
you
But
double.
I'll give you the money for the picture now. And seeing Paulson Young will be awesome as well because
Yeah,
uh, I mean
and maybe he's
the
gonna troop with
guys.
us. Maybe he's gonna come and troop, right?
Yeah,
So
why
that'd be
not? It would
awesome.
be
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah,
And it's just too bad that Hasbro still has not made his helmet. They thought it was more important to make Dave Filoni's helmet first. But I mean, this guy is much more important in this series
yeah,
than
for sure. No, in hindsight,
Trapper
yeah.
Wolf. So uh, I'm still crossing my fingers and hoping that maybe his helmet will come out before July 14.
Unless you get one to,
So
I mean, if it's the same build, get someone to customize it, right?
yeah, but it's just
It's
gonna
not
be
the
the
same,
same,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's not the same. So, but they have the mold. It's the same as Luke's and Wedge and Trapper Wolf.
yeah,
So it's only a paint job they need to do, and they're in business. So and we all know that Hasbro loves its repaints. So
yeah.
uh, it would be pretty easy. I
I'm
don't
I'm
even
I'm
care
still
about the
sour.
audio.
I'm still sour that the Black Series Mandalorian Scout Trooper is just basically a repaint when there's I know it, you can see it behind me there, but like there's so many things that are different. The knees that are upside, well, so many things. The knees that are upside down, and obviously the cover button that's sitting a little lower with the black. But you look at the Scout Trooper Black Series for Mandalorian, it's essentially it's a repaint of the original. So I mean, obviously
Mm.
it's not accurate, but what you can see right where my name is above is like those. I have the Hot Toys sitting up there. So those are I got two, and I'm really contemplating getting myself an IG-11. I would love to just kind of reenact that scene of the
Oh
two
yeah, with
scout
the
troopers, yeah,
yeah,
with the baby. But
that would be so funny.
they're
Yeah,
super. Here you can see them there. They're just so expensive that
yeah.
it's hard for me to justify getting that IG-11. But
Especially with the weak Canadian dollar right now. I mean,
ah man,
we only get like 72 cents of an American dollar. So
yeah, I'm gonna
yeah.
start a GoFundMe for my IG-11. But yeah, it'd be cool to get that. So we'll see. A quick
And we
remind.
have not mentioned Ryan's comment, in the chat, when he
Oh
says
yeah,
that Kellerman Beck pulled up when he pulled the Nubian ship, he thought that there was a chance Jar Jar was on board and would get a double Heaven Best cameo, which yeah, it could have happened. I mean, it was a good moment that scene, and
I think he
I think
deserved to
that
be alone though. Like with everything that happened, he deserved to have his moment. Like, and I think that would have been cool, and I think a lot of people would have appreciated. But I also think he deserved his moment in the spotlight,
yeah,
without being reminded of the whole
the
Jar Jar
shadow
thing. Yeah,
of Jar Jar, yeah,
yeah,
perhaps, yeah, perhaps they even spoke about it, before filming,
yeah.
and because
I'm
who
sure it
could have
came up.
sent that ship?
He's there, right? He was there on,
Um,
on
I mean,
performing.
it's not
So
Padme because she's at her penthouse worried sick about Anakin.
yeah,
If we fill up the blanks from Revenge of the Sith, and then she leaves for Mustafar to try to bring Anakin back to the light. So she was busy.
yeah,
It could have been Senator Organa, but why use ship from another system or planet
yeah.
to do? Why not use like
Hey,
a
maybe it's
ship from
something that's in
Alderaan?
season 4, right? To continue the story about it. Maybe
That's
the
why I
Filoni.
say that I wouldn't be surprised if we get another flashback with, especially with the response they got from that scene.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
you
for
know what?
sure
Like,
people are gonna like it if they
I
do like a
just,
follow up to that.
I just hope he didn't survive because I saw a meme and it didn't make sense. Where they're like, what was it? Scene? You're the last Jedi. You're the only hope. And then like all of a sudden, when you look at all this, it looks like there was quite a few of them still alive, right? Like, so it's
Hmm.
like, how did you not really feel that? Why would you even say that to Luke and all this? But um, no,
Yeah, but thinking about it also, at the time of Order 66, there was like 10,000 Jedi spread across the galaxy.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
So if only 1% survive, it means that 100 Jedi survived.
Yeah,
So it's not too far fetched, but
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
it's hard to
I
go
agree
back and
with you,
always
Ryan. Yeah.
nitpick at everything that nitpick on everything that happened in the previous episodes, right? Because then a lot of people are, well, it's not consistent with that. Like, you know what? Like, let's move on. Do you want to have new stuff or not, right? Like, so you
Hmm.
at one point, so you stay angry at the mouse, don't watch anymore, do what you want to do, but like the thing is, at one point, we have to kind of like give a little bit of leniency to something that was,
Yeah, we have to
uh,
let go, right?
yeah, something that's what over like 45 years old at this point, or like let's just move on from that. So
It's just that being the lore guy that I am, I'm trying to connect all the dots, see
yeah,
everything is working. It's in my nature. I know I'm not the only one. Uh, and because especially because of the show now, there's so much, at least for me, preparation for a show like tonight. I mean, just even if there was not too much lore in yesterday's episode, I spent like 3.5 hours writing notes.
that I completely
Uh,
disregarded again.
Yeah, but it's a good exercise because the info is gets in my brain,
Yeah,
in the back of my brain, so I remember stuff. But it's a lot of preparation. I watched the episode 3 times. Uh, one completely alone. Like the fanboy that I am, enjoying the show. And the other 2 times was I was like in analysis mode, trying to nitpick all the detail, making sure I'm not missing anything valuable or
yeah.
mistakes and stuff like that.
There
So
wasn't much there though. I mean, it's but
yeah, it takes. I guess it takes a little bit away from the ordinary Joe who just sits on his couch after a hard day at work and
he
press play
there's
and
yeah,
enjoys it. But I mean, that's the kind of job I decided I wanted to do with the Star Wars Artifact show, and I'm enjoying every moment of it. I'm glad that the the shows are over, that we're gonna get a little break. Because it's a lot of work, as I was saying. But I'm not sad at all that you're gonna wait until August to have another big show. Of course, on May 4th, we will talk about Visions that we got to see earlier this week uh, because of our media access. But it's going to be going pretty slowly for in the upcoming weeks.
that's
We're going to
fine.
have some fun
I
playing
enjoy this,
for
but I need a
the
break from scrambling to get stuff
the
ready. But
snapshots and
yeah, but you know what? Like I think it's going to be. We've got other stuff that we've been planning to do and trying to fill as much as we can, and now we're going to have time to do it.
yep.
But just a reminder here for the contest, if you haven't seen it, we were trying to plan to maybe do the draw tonight, but we're gonna extend it a few more days. We don't have a solid deadline yet, but just a reminder that you have to both like and share the post in order to be eligible. I know there's a
Well,
lot
you
more
know what,
likes than there
Eric?
are shares.
I'm sorry for interrupting you. I just got
Yeah,
an idea because I was reading the title, May the Fan Be With You. And what a better moment to make the draw on May 4th.
yeah,
It's Star Wars Day, so
yeah.
let's let's keep it open until and it's a Thursday, so we're gonna make a
Good
show.
timing.
We're probably gonna talk about Visions on that day because the embargo lifts on May 4th. So I think it's a pretty good timing to make the draw for the contest.
Yeah.
And
So just a reminder, you both gone. It's on Facebook. You have to both again like and share the post in order to be eligible. If you just like, unfortunately, it won't be enough. So please share the post. We're trying to
mhm.
support Mark on his project here and trying to expose this great film as much as we can. And you know what? Like it's you're
In
gonna have one
finishing
lucky
place
winner.
at the Fantasia Film
Yeah.
Festival here in Montreal. So that's a pretty big deal.
And if
So
you, if you can't, even if you don't want to take a chance or whatever, just go rent it. It's a good watch.
yeah, it's just a
Especially
few
if
bucks
you're,
on Vimeo.
yeah. So definitely, if you have a chance, it'd be great to have you participate. We have another contest that's going to be um, Jedi Survivor Fallen Order theme coming up.
Yeah.
We'll announce next week before the release of the new game, which we're gonna have to start scheduling how we want to start doing that. I know we want to do that's something that's coming up next Friday. The
Yeah.
game is coming out, and we're gonna start streaming some of the gameplay for anyone who doesn't have access to, or just plain simply doesn't like the game, likes to watch. I know a few people that are like that. They'd rather just go online and watch it. So
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna do that, and we since it's brand new, it's fun. I've never played it. We're gonna discover things together. I
Mm-hmm.
usually like to dig in every little hole and corner and everything like that. So if you're online watching while we're streaming, you can participate and if there's anything you want me to try and do, then by all means go ahead. So we'll start doing that. This I had this in here. You wanted to bring this up here.
Yeah. Perhaps you'll recognize Grief card as gift to Din Djarin in last week's episode. So I
Yep.
finally found the bottle. It's a tequila bottle. Memory is right. It's a Cinco Toro.
They painted it
Uh,
to the top though, right? It was a little bit different, right? The bottle, I think.
the now the top is identical. It's the bottom.
Oh, okay.
The bottom is like brushed silver,
Okay.
but the rest is pretty identical, and it comes like in three different variants, I guess. My
Can you
more
buy that?
translucent tequila. Yeah, yeah. You can buy it. So the website I found that image on, it was pretty expensive though. It was like 140 euros.
Jeez.
Uh, but yeah, so that's about nearly $200 in Canada. But I'm sure there's a less expensive option in North America.
They have it at the LCBO. Yeesh.
How much is it?
It's $200.
$200, huh? Mm.
Yeah. So, and for something that I guess you wouldn't enjoy, right? But it's an expensive prop. Um, but I guess you could drink it and put some apple juice in there, or whatever, and then close the
I would like
bottle.
to remind the viewer that my birthday is on July 25th.
Yeah, exactly.
So, if you would like
So,
to send me a
yeah,
gift,
my birthday just passed. IG 11 for anyone that wants to toss me a nice expensive gift there.
Brian is saying on the chat, Mandalorians must like margaritas. This is the way. Yeah, it's pretty much
And
it.
one thing for the Canadian fans, we were waiting anxiously to find out what was going to happen with this because we had seen the announcement to Return the Jedi 40th anniversary returning to theaters, and we just got confirmation today from Cineplex, which is the big one here in Canada.
Yeah,
Um,
it's our version of AMC, I guess.
yeah, so we will have our version. Well, I mean, the release here in Canada. There's nothing scheduled yet, but they did confirm that on the 28th it'll go back in theaters. Obviously for its limited run. I'm definitely gonna go check that one out. I mean, I went to see The Empire with my kid when that came out, so I'm planning on probably seeing this one again with him. So um, I guess a little bit of a passing of the torch. My dad brought me to see the movies, so I'm bringing him. He's seen them before, but it's kind
Okay.
of still a cool moment to go see this movie.
Well, the
Four
last
years
time I
later.
saw I saw Jedi in the movie theater was, well, I think it was when the special editions came out,
Hmm.
like in the late '90s,
Yeah,
prior to the prequels. So yeah, it's
and
been a
they tried
long
doing a
while.
3D run, remember? And then they stopped after the first one
Ah,
too.
yeah, so true.
Yeah, and that stopped
No,
fairly
I
quick.
didn't get to go to the 3D version. So
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. They stopped after the first one, so that didn't
yeah,
last very long. So, so that's it for our slides and Easter eggs and whatnot. But like, thanks for sticking with us throughout this whole season. And what also it was a tie-in
with the Bad
uh,
Batch.
the Bad Batch. It was a lot of viewing and trying to stay consistent, even through some uh, ice storms that I had to miss, and getting sick one week, and we still managed to cover 2-3 episodes sometimes at a time. But
Yeah,
it's
and
been enjoyable.
the electricity that went out at your
Yeah,
place,
exactly. Yeah, it's it hasn't been easy.
power outage. Yeah,
I'm
it
gonna
was
be
a
I'm gonna be fine just doing an episode, I guess, next week, and whether whether we're gaming. I know we like you saw earlier. I have that Lego I want to work on, so we haven't finalized what we're gonna do, but
we know it's going to be Fallen Order related or
yeah,
Jedi Survivor related,
Survivor related. Yeah, it's for the hype.
uh, we don't know the format. We began playing Fallen Order I think it's 2 months ago, and we never continued playing for a lack of time
There's also this
mostly,
bad
but
boy I'm trying to get to
to
the end
read.
to try. I mean, I'm gonna try my best to finish it before because I also want to finish it before, and give you some feedback for those. I mean, I'll definitely um, flash the spoiler alert, but trying to bring you up to speed on what happened in the book to tie in with the game that's going to be released in the next day if possible. So
Hmm.
otherwise, we can always make a special uh, review of the book as well. We were trying to get Sam on as a guest, but unfortunately we weren't able to. Maybe I'll try again. You
And
never know.
speaking of guests, we mentioned that Paul Sung Hyun Lee would be in Montreal. I'm obviously going to do a photo op with him, but maybe I'll try to speak to him about the Star Wars Artifact show. I mean, how awesome would it be to have him as a guest on the show, and just to talk about, well, a his experience as a member of the 501st, b becoming an actual character in the Star Wars universe. How cool is that?
Yeah,
Being a fan first, uh, and c perhaps we'll try to squeeze some info on. Well,
yeah,
do you
good.
still have a job in the Mandoverse?
Yeah. Well, he won't have a job
No.
anymore if he
Yeah,
does say it, right?
if he
So
answers that question, you'll be without a job for sure. So, but yeah, it would be great because the guy is a true gentleman, a real good guy. So I would be delighted to have him on the show
great if you
if
can
it's
have
something
your
possible. Yeah.
501st costume done by then, so you can be among
Yeah,
us
I'm
in that.
hoping to be, an official member of the 501st by then. The only thing missing are the boots, and my friend Sebastian who was in last week breakdown of the celebration show. He's working on something, trying to help me out with the boots. So I'll be, an official imperial officer.
Good.
Uh, it's gonna be fun. So,
We'll
and
schedule the
speaking
photo
of
op
imperial
together.
officer, I might make a little improvised live show on Tuesday for a special announcement. So uh, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't done it yet, because there's a cool little short film that is going to come out pretty soon, and Eric took part of it, and Nico Crank, my buddy, also was part of it, and we had some people who worked behind the camera to film
Hey,
it,
we
and
we can always we can I mean to uh, fill the episode. I mean it's not super long. We can always stream it live as well.
yeah,
Next
well,
Thursday
that's what I was
after
hoping
it's
next Thursday.
released.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it'll be released on the Tuesday or like
Yeah, it's scheduled to be released on Tuesday. The Believe it or not, the editing job is not totally completed yet. We still have to add like the soundtrack behind it and tweak a little voices recording. But this weekend is like the crunch time for me and Nico, and we're gonna wrap it up. I expect before Sunday night, so Monday I'll be able to upload it on YouTube, because as for all the content on my channel, I do it in both French and English, so it's double the job. I had to record my voice for the English version and the French version, and I had to make my lips synchronize with what I'm saying. So it's a pretty intense dubbing job, but
yeah, I didn't have that problem, so it was
yeah, says the guy who has an helmet on his face. So that's
yeah,
why I told the guys next year I want an helmet on my head.
yeah. Hey, you should, yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about it after Tuesday, but yeah, definitely keep your notification. And as usual, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thanks everyone for your support again throughout these series. I mean, it's not goodbye by any means, but like we're done with these series for now, and the next one is going to be, well, we're going to talk about Visions briefly.
Yeah, on May the
Um,
fourth,
yeah,
and then, well, I guess we'll be playing Jedi Survivor for a while, so
and
it's gonna be fun for us. No preparation for
yeah,
me.
yeah. Well,
Hallelujah.
I just got to make sure that video game streaming is always working. But other than that, I think if we're always doing the same thing, it's one less preparation. I just got to flick a switch and we'll be good. But yeah,
All
you want to
right.
wrap it up?
Yeah. Well, as usual, guys, thank you for watching. Uh, well, as Eric said, we had a blast covering the Bad Batch and then the Mandalorian since January. It was fun. Stay tuned on Star Wars Artifact because there are a lot of stuff coming your way. And well, I guess the only thing left to say is Thanks for watching, and this is the way.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.